Okay, a little quiz review. Graph the equation y equals negative 2x plus 6. Don't make the input-output table. You need to use slope and y-intercept. So you make sure the y is by itself, and if it is, you have m and b. So this one's going to be easy. So slope is negative 2, and the y-intercept is positive 6. So on the y-axis, the y, not the sideways one, you go, there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then from there I use my slope, but I need to place a 1 under it so it has a run. So it's down and forward, down and to the right. So I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and that's good enough. You can do that to the end of the graph. And you take your ruler and you make your points. Okay, number 2, 2x plus 5y equals 10. This time you got some work to do because the y is not by itself, so it's all about the y. Well, it's got a multiplication by 5, by positive 5, which is good because I don't need to change the signs then. Okay, don't have to do the opposite. It has a 2x being added outside of there, so we need to take out our 2x by minusing 2x and make a 0x, so because it can't be a 2x can't be minus from a 10 without an x. 10's a constant, the 2 is an x term. So we make our 0. So we line up the equals and we have 5 times y. Okay. Now I write the x down first. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. And then your 10, your constant 10 comes next. But you're still not done because you still have a times 5. So you divide all 3 of the terms by 5. So y equals, now you can take negative 2 divided by 5, but that's a decimal. And if we have to graph, I do not want decimals. So I just keep it as negative 2/5 times x. And then 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now I'm good to go. Okay, my m is negative 2/5 and the b is 2. Okay, so the slope is negative 2/5. The y-intercept is positive 2. So on the y-axis, you go to positive 2. So 1, 2. Then from that 2 point, not from the middle, I go down 2 because we have a negative, but I move to the right 5. So the rise is negative 2, the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I really don't think I have room to do it again. If I did, I'd be off the graph, but I guess you can just go with 2, the 2 points, the first 2. Arrows on both ends, please. Okay, now you're going the other direction. Okay. Write the equation for the line. Well, now the line's there, we have to come up with what the equation is. So we know we want the y by itself. It's going to be something times x plus something else. And this is the m, this is the b. So m, b. Remember, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now to know these two things, you need 2 points. The first point should be down your y-axis right there. Okay, so what is that point? It's 1, 2, up 2, so b is 2. Now go to the right. Don't ever go to the left. This is right. Okay, right there is a nice point, and that's point 2. Now I need to figure out what the rise and the run is. So from here to here, it goes up 2 units, 2 squares. Positive 2 is the top, and then it goes 1 over. So 1 is your run. So you can get rid of the 1. If it's a 1 on the bottom, you can just put 2. Okay? Because 2 over 1 and 2 mean the same thing. Now if it's 1 over 2, you can't do that. But you can do it. You just got to keep it 1/2. Okay, this one. Y equals blank x plus blank mb. So m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, right there, first point, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was going up, so it's positive 6. Then I have to get another point going to the right. Right there will work. Okay. So that is down 2, so we'd have negative 2. Remember, the top goes first. Or the up-down part needs to go on top, then the across part goes on bottom. Run is across. So that's going to be 3. So negative 2/3. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 6. Okay, now I didn't put something here. Okay. Down here, it's supposed to say meters per hour. Okay. This is a fairly easy problem. You're just working with the table I provided. Snow is 0.02 meters deep after 1 hour and 0.06 meters deep after 3 hours. Find the rate of change of this situation. Make a table. Well, we already made it. Okay. So you got to label your x and y. The hours is your x. Time is always x, and then the other unit, the meters, is your y, because the meters is a function of the time. Y is a function of x in algebra. So 0.02 meters is with 1 hour. And then 0.06 meters is with 3 hours. Now this is really easy to do. You find out the change from here to here. You just start at the bottom and subtract. So that went up by 0.04. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So it went up 0.04 meters over a time span of 2 hours. So to find out what it's doing every single hour, we take the 0.04 and divide by 2. And that's 0.02. That easy. That's how you find a rate of change. Okay, rate of change is the per. You are finding the per yourself. Now blank spot. Now we're writing equations, the y equals mx plus b equation without seeing the graph. Okay, we have a strategy for this. So I write an equation of a line with the given information. So the slope equals negative 3. So y equals blank x plus blank. Okay, so remember, slope is m, so I have my m. I don't need any formula to find m. And then the y-intercept is your b, so that's a pretty easy problem. Okay, there's the equation, y equals negative 3x plus 4. Now they tell me the slope is 3, but they don't tell me the y-intercept. Instead, they tell me a slope of 3 and that the fact that if I went forward 1, up 1, that's going to be on the line, but that's not the y-intercept. Because if on a graph, if we went forward 1, up 1, you're not on the y-axis. You're in the middle of space. But we use that to find the y-intercept. So y equals blank x plus blank mb. Okay, so your slope is given. It's 3. Now to find your b, use the y equals m times x plus b. So my m is 3. And then y is 1, and then x is 1. Then plus, you're going to have b in front, so 3 times 1 is 3. You always want to put the variable first, and then the other side, your product of 3 and 1. Then you minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and that equals b. Now, you can always check your answer by doing an input-output test. This is the answer. To check if it's right, you go 3 times, and you use at 1 as your input for x, and then you add negative 2. And then when I click equals, that's the output, and it should be 1. And it is. Okay. Now, they don't even tell me the slope here. Instead, they give me 2 points on the line. If I went left 2, up 15, that's on our line. If I go right 1, up 9, that's on the line. So I need to find the slope and the y-intercept with that information. So now I need to actually find my m. Well, when I got 2 points, that's the formula. M is y minus y, x minus x. Go and show my work over here. So to start, before the minuses, we want to start with the coordinate that has the higher x value. So I have a -2 and a +1. Positive 1 is higher than -2, so we'd start with that one. So I place 9 over 1. Then 15, -2. So 9 minus 15 is -6. And then a 1 minus a -2, well, that's the same as 1 plus +2, which we know is 3. Now divide it. And -6 divided by 3 is -2. Okay, there's your slope. So b, y equals m times x plus b. So m is -2. 9 is y. And then 1 is x. So plus, you're going to have b. And then I got a -2 times 1 is -2. And then you get rid of your -2 by adding 2 to both sides. And that's 11. So 11 equals b. Again, you can test that by taking -2 times, pick at one of the x's as your input. If I go -2 and then plus 11, the output needs to be 15. Now if you did 1 for x, the output should be 9. Okay, blank page. And some story problems. The job contains a base pay of $500. The workers are paid $20 per hour. How much will a person make who works 25 hours? Shouldn't have an S on that. It's poor writing. So you've got dollars and hours as your units, okay? The X is my time. The money is my Y. So per. Remember, if you have money, that's Y. If you have time, that's X. Dollars per hour is 20. So that's also known as the slope. So now I make my table. Don't try to cut steps out here. Hours is X, dollars is Y. So we go 0, 1, 2 because we know this. We know once I get my amount that goes with 0, I just add 20. Now the amount that goes with 0 is 500. Then you start adding 20. So now you're at 520. And now you're at 540. Now draw a line and put 25 in for hours. And we got to find how much money that is. So my equation, y is always the function. You start at 500 and you're adding your slope of 20 every time. There's that. So there's your equation. 500 plus 20 times x equals y. Now, 25 goes in for x. Remember, we leave the y alone because that's what we got to figure out. But x equals 25. So I cross out the x, put 25. So now my equation is 500 plus 20 times 25 equals y. So all the operations, y is by itself. I just go to the other side and do the operations. We got plus and times. Well, we need to times first. 20 times 25 is 500. And then 500 plus 500 is 1,000. So 1,000 equals y. $25 hours, $1,000. Makes sense. Okay, last problem. Camp charges a $50 registration fee. The members are then charged $24 per day they camp. If a person pays $506, how many days did they camp? Sorry, I just saw this so funny. So, dollars and days. The time is X, dollars is Y. So per dollars per day. Dollars per day is 24 times X. So dollars is Y, days is X. So we start at 50. Then we add our slope, 24. So 50 plus 24 is 74. 94 plus 24, 74 plus 24 is going to be 98. Okay. So $506. So I'm finding the x now. It's like when I set the equation, I'm going to kind of be doing the opposite. So we start at 50, and we're adding 24 times x. That's the y-intercept, that's the slope. Okay, so we have 50 plus 24 times x equals y, and then y equals 506. Now we put it in for y, so now we have to solve for the x ourselves. So now we're solving for the input. Now, the 506 is all, no operations on this side. Now there are operations over here, but I can't figure them out because I don't know x, and that's my job, is to get rid of the operations that are happening to x. So we got a times and a plus, so we take out the plus 50 with a minus 50. 506 minus 50 is 456, and then we have 24 times x. Now we get rid of the times 24 with a divide by 24. So 456 divided by 24 is 19. So 19 days. So on the first story problem, I was finding the output, which is easy. We just times and add. But when I'm finding the input, I have to get rid of the operations around the input variable.